Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, December 2, 2025. And now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what did that be like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the global tropics hazards outlook that just came out from the US Climate Prediction Center today, December 2, from the forecaster Novella. We're looking at the time frame from December 10 to December 16, as well as the time frame from December 17 to December 23. And across the Atlantic, we're seeing an increase in rainfall. The greens, as you know, represents what we see here on the key on the bottom. Well, the light shades of greens, just a 50% chance of above normal rainfall probability, extending all the way from the Bahamas into Cuba, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, into Central America, Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. And I guess you could say that this has already been the case so far in early December, in late November especially with all of that northeasterly flow and all of that frontal system action. And the intertropical convergence zone is looking very active as well, and it has already been the case, extending all the way from the west coast of Africa across the southern main development region into northeastern South America. It's still expected to be active here across the intertropical convergence zone around the December 17 to 23 time frame, and especially across the northern South America into Costa Rica, Panama area as well. Very interesting times ahead. Over on the western Pacific side of things, we can see especially the southern West Pacific and the southern Indian Ocean have some red and white patterns that represents a low chance of tropical cyclone formation probability. The northern hemisphere definitely quieting down, as you can see here, nothing trying to develop at all. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, blue spike line attached to a red L that represents a frontal system attached to an area of low pressure off the east coast of the US. A trough right here affecting the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. Another trough to the northeast of that one. A trough right here affecting the Windward Islands, if it's not just to the east of the Windward Islands. And the red line associated with the intertropical convergence zone, extending from Africa across the southern main development region into portion of the Windward Islands. And we can see a ridge of high pressure to the north that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region and into the Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost the sunlight, we can make out all of what we just saw on the surface map. Clouds associated with that frontal system of the east coast of the US down to Florida and the Gulf. Clouds associated with that trough. We definitely don't have much clouds associated with that one, but we do see the other cloud to the northeast of that one with the other trough. Clouds right here to the east of the Windward Islands with that other trough, and the clouds associated with the intertropical convergence zone extending all the way from Africa across the southern mid-development region into the Windward Islands and northeastern South America. And we can definitely make out the low level flow of the clouds being steered from east to west, all courtesy of that ridge of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, December 2, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast for parts of some eastern, central, and western parishes during Tuesday afternoon. And we know that eastern parishes were referring to those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. Central parishes, were referring to those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. While our western parishes, were referring to those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening At around 4:25 p.m., the visible satellite images were posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but they were also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you cannot afford to miss. So we can see the clouds that were building across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. That brought us some overcast skies and some isolated shower activity. I definitely got in on some of the rainfall activity across my part of St. Thomas, and I'm sure that it was definitely there as well across section of northern Clarendon, Manchester into St. Elizabeth, section of Westmoreland. Definitely got in on some of the overcast sky, if not isolated shower activity. And we can see it all even better on the HD visible satellite imagery right here. We can definitely make out that low level flow from the north here in Trelawney and St. Jean. All of those clouds piling up across section of Westmoreland to St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, section of St. Thomas. Definitely got it on the overcast sky, if not isolated shower activity. And even while we were losing the sunlight, we still had some clouds across sections of the St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon area. And the infrared confirms the grayish shades that represents the cloud cover, but nothing in the way of cumulonimbus clouds at all. No greens, yellows, oranges, reds. No sparkling white dots either that represents cumulonimbus clouds, if not lightning strikes or lightning flashes. Unfortunately, we don't have the Jamaican Doppler radar imagery to show, but we have the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel here at around 3:23 p.m. in the Flatbridge area. I mean, what was this about? Flatbridge always a keep, what was really going on here? It's kind of glitching, but I'm guessing somebody doesn't want to reverse. Boy, I don't know, some unruly drivers are always unruly, I guess. And then I'm guessing this driver eventually reversed, and then what happened? There we go. The rope that was carrying the truck snapped. Hey, why does it always just happen around Flatbridge? Flatbridge always, go on with something. Let's fast forward. Okay, so I'm guessing he's gonna tie it back onto the truck, and then they'll be on their merry way. And there they go, boy. This was just a random part that I skipped. I didn't even know that this happened. But as you can see, it was definitely a fair day. Nothing in the way of bad weather, not like yesterday when we had that afternoon rainfall. Fair conditions taking place in the Flatbridge area. This was at around 3:25 p.m. though, and I'm guessing that right now the live camera is showing not much of anything taking place. JUTC bus right here crossing about now 7:44 p.m. time of recording. And if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the, well, I don't even think this is the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours. I think it's glitching out. It keeps glitching out between November 29 and November 30. I don't know what's happening. It's definitely glitching out because it is not showing up to December 2 at all, so I'm not even gonna bother to show that. But I got at least one comment here from Marlon _1God_ showing that his area in Clarendon got some cloudy conditions, just some cloudy conditions. I got some light rain in my area. I'm grateful. But let us reload the very latest image here from the Weather Nerds website. The latest Cuban Doppler radar, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, Cayman radar still down, Jamaican Doppler radar still down. So the latest still image here from the Weather Nerds website is showing 0035 UTC, which is actually 7:35 p.m. So this just came out 11 minutes ago, considering that it is 7:46 p.m. right now. And as you can see, still have some leftover clouds across section of Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth. But do we actually have rain bands underneath those clouds? Somebody, if you live down there, let me know if it is raining right now. 7:46 p.m. right now. Let me know if you're getting rainfall the time of this recording, or if you were getting rainfall. The Cuban Doppler radar was showing that up to the point of 6:10 p.m. we were getting in on the greens into the slight yellows. That represents moderate into some slightly heavy rainfall across section of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, and Clarendon. Is it still happening? Let me know. the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar. Now we're gonna be pausing it right about there. So this is representing 0031 UTC, which is actually 7:31 p.m. So this just came out 15 minutes ago, considering that this is 7:46 p.m. right now. Can't make out anything taking place across southeastern Cuba, western Haiti, or northeastern Jamaica at all. Definitely fair conditions. The live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel though shows that there's nothing taking place in terms of bad weather in the halfway tree area. People in their vehicles going about their business, people walking about going about their business, and that should be the order of the evening into the night. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in the grays. That represents 0, that's average temperature, so it's not yellow into the oranges, that represents above normal temperatures. It's not blues into the greens, that represents below normal temperatures. It's normal temperatures, that's what we're expecting across the majority of Jamaica by 18Z on Wednesday, that's 1 p.m. on Wednesday. I know the normal temperature for the month of December across Jamaica is around 87 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 30.5 degrees Celsius. So that should be Jamaica's temperature forecast for Wednesday. And we have some updates here from my JPS Online Twitter page regarding, the work being done about the places that were affected by Melissa. So they posted today, reading to Anchovy St. James, crews were working on Long Hill Main Road. This restores power to Anchovy High, Primary, and the police station and some surrounding areas. But this repair does much more than just fix the local area. So here they are hard at work, the local workers as well as the international workers. We love to see it. Oh, what a footage right here. This was good with the moon in the background. Here the trucks are hard at work. I mean, look at the damage. Trees stripped off their leaves, but nice to see that the place is starting to green up again. That's good. Like to see the lush green for sure. Still have some tarpaulins on some roofs here and there. My goodness. Hopefully everybody gets connected back to the grid before Christmas. Taking a look at the tips right here to beat the heat as usual. So if tomorrow is going to be a bit too hot for you, it states here that you're supposed to seek shade when you're outside. Eat first, try eating cold foods such as salads and fruit. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those words. And we can see the dry air across the main development region, some dry air across the Caribbean. We know that the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain. And we're also keeping an eye on the Saharan dust. We know we're looking at the time frame from December 3, 4, and 5. And as you can see, the Atlantic is not expecting any Saharan dust at all. We're grateful for that. We know that the Saharan dust can cause hazy skies, not to mention trigger respiratory illnesses in some persons, and for the most part, just some slight shades of greens pushing through the main development region from Africa. We know that the vigorous plume is represented by the greens, yellows, oranges, and pinks, and we don't see that at all. That's good. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow across the Caribbean, we're seeing a mixture of light shades of blues to blues. That represents anywhere from 0.5 for meter wave height all the way up to 1 meter wave height. And that is because of the winds that are expected. We see more of an easterly, if not east-northeasterly or northeasterly flow right here, averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 knots at most. But if we zoom in on Jamaica's wave forecast, to the north of Portland, 0.7 of a meter wave height expected tomorrow, 0.6 of a meter wave height expected tomorrow to the north of St. Anne. 0.5 for meter wave height expected tomorrow to the north of Hanover. To the south of Westmoreland, 0.3 for meter wave height expected. To the south of Clarendon, 0.4 for meter wave height expected. While to the south of St. Thomas, 0.7 for meter wave height expected. And that is because of the winds that are expected tomorrow. We see more of a northeasterly flow of the wind. And you know what usually happens when we get that northeasterly flow? We usually get some relief rainfall, especially on the Portland side for sure. As you can see right here. Definitely pushing down from the northeast, averaging 8 knots to the north of Portland. Looks like it's averaging up to 12 knots to the southeast of St. Thomas. Definitely weaker over here, 8 knots to the north of Trelawney. And we see that we have weak winds on the south coast. Wherever we have the least amount of wind, that is where we could get some of these low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. And considering that we're losing the thunderstorm season right now, we're heading into the dry season, December, as you know. Not really expecting much in the way of thunderstorm activity, but the upper level winds tomorrow, look at that. We have upper level high pressure sitting on top of Jamaica tomorrow. This is a perfect condition for tropical systems to develop. So not really strong upper level wind shear spinning around right here. So if we are to get thunderstorms, they're just going to be fanning out in all directions, not necessarily going to be sheared off to any specific direction. And regarding the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS, they are both valid for 8 a.m. on Wednesday, and we can clearly see that both of them are in agreement that there's going to be some rainfall, if not out to sea to the north of St. Anne and Portland, maybe brushing the coast. We'll see if we get that morning rainfall across the northeast. Then by afternoon, look at what both the Euro and the GFS maps are showing. It looks like there could be some amount of rainfall across sections of mainly central and western parishes. The Euro is more confined to southern and eastern parishes. Maybe Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, section of St. Catherine, St. Thomas, Portland. The GFS is more inclined to believe waters to the east of Portland and St. Thomas, St. Andrew, maybe St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne. We'll see. It looks like more central and western parishes though. Maybe eastern, central, western. I'm not even sure. We'll see. It plays out tomorrow. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in agreement that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. Both maps right here are showing all the rainfall that's expected up to 10 p.m. on Wednesday, and we see the greens represents all the way up to 0.15 for an inch of rainfall on the Euro. GFS showing the same thing, but it's over here in Trelawney. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Regarding the usual rainfall that we get in December in St. Elizabeth, it's usually around 26 millimeters of rainfall, just an inch of rainfall. Definitely dry condition. That's just gonna be getting even drier as we head into January, February. My goodness, the dry season is here. St. Mary, we usually receive up to 75 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about 2.9 inches of rainfall, maybe 3. We'll see what happens this month. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go out to the next 168 hours. That stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right down here as we look for all of this that we see on the queue on the right. The reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represents millimeters of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so regarding the rainfall forecast, as you can see, we have some greens expected on the Thursday morning. 12 is actually 7 a.m. Greens represent rainfall across the northeast. We'll see if we're going to be getting morning rainfall in Portland, St. and St. Mary. Then on Thursday afternoon, still affecting eastern, central, and western parishes. GFS, northeastern parishes with that rainfall. Then on Thursday afternoon, what do we see? Central and western parishes with that rainfall. What do we see on Friday morning? On Friday morning on the Euro, rainfall affecting the north coast. Friday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, western parishes. What does the GFS show? Friday morning, rainfall across the north coast. Friday afternoon, rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. What do we see on Saturday morning? Saturday morning, rainfall across the eastern end. Saturday afternoon, rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. What do we see on the GFS? Saturday morning, not much of anything on the GFS. Saturday afternoon, maybe rainfall across the far eastern end. What do we see on Sunday morning? On Sunday morning, we're seeing rainfall across the far eastern end of the waters to our south. Then on Sunday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. What do we see on the GFS? Sunday morning, rainfall southeast of us, rainfall to the west of us. Then on Sunday afternoon, we're seeing not much of anything across Jamaica at all. What do we see on Monday into Tuesday now? On Monday morning, rainfall across the eastern end. On Monday afternoon, rainfall across the eastern, central, and western parishes. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Tuesday, December 9. Don't really have much affecting Jamaica at that time. What does the GFS show? Monday morning, rainfall to the south of us, rainfall to the west of us. Monday afternoon, rainfall across western parishes. And just like on the year, we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is also valid for Tuesday, December 9. Don't really see much of anything across Jamaica either, but clearly both of them are in agreement that there should be some kind of a frontal system. You see the line of shores extending from northern portion of North Atlantic down to the Bahamas, sections of Cuba into the Western Caribbean, definitely in line with what the U.S. Climate Prediction Center's Global Tropics Hazards Outlook was showing, with the increase in rainfall across Central America, Bahamas, Cuba for sure. So eventually, maybe after December 9, some of this moisture could make it down into Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. And regarding the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that from now up until Tuesday, December 9, there should definitely be rainfall, especially where we have the dark reds into the purples and the pinks. That represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall for portions of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, sections of Venezuela, coastal Suriname, Barbados, southern Venezuela, the ABC Islands, sections of Colombia, so too sections of Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, and some of these areas could definitely get some isolated flash flooding activity, especially considering that both the Euro and the GFS modes are showing these crazy rainfall totals, especially we have the purples into the pinks for sure. While other areas that are shaded in the green, yellows, oranges, and red should be getting on an inch of rainfall or less. Regarding Jamaica's rainfall totals for the next 7 days, the Euro is still adamant that northeastern parishes should be getting the brunt of the rainfall. The GFS is adamant as well regarding the same, but the Euro is showing all the way up into the yellows and the oranges. That represents a total of 63 millimeters of rainfall in Portland. GFS only going up into the greens, maybe 15-20 millimeters of rainfall. We see a 23 right here to the north of Portland. We'll see it actually plays out over the next 7 days. Keep in mind that this map is showing all the rainfall that's expected up to Tuesday, December 9 as well. Alright, so regarding what's happening across the rest of the basin, as stated, we have a lot of moisture associated with the trough affecting portions of Barbados, sections of Martinique, Dominica, sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago as we speak. A lot of which is, somewhat associated with the intertropical convergence zone. You also see that trough near Puerto Rico, and we're gonna be looking at what's taking place down there near Puerto Rico. As you can see, some hit or miss isolated shores in the green in and around the eastern Puerto Rico and US and British Virgin Islands area. We see some moisture in and around Guadeloupe, Dominica. Let's look at the Barbados radar. I mean, look at the amount of rainfall. They're definitely getting in on some decent amount of rainfall. Look at the blues into the greens into the yellows. They represent some light to moderate to even some heavy rainfall in and around Barbados. They're definitely getting on some decent rainfall. Also affecting sections of Dominica, so too sections of St. Lucia, the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago getting on some of the action as well. And the wide wave Doppler radar images also confirms the same. Well, we're seeing some isolated shores in and around sections of the waters to the north of ABC Islands, sections of Colombia, so too Belize getting on some of the action too. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, clearly the most rainfall should be down in the Windward Islands, and that's where we see the reds. That's where we see the reds for sure. So anywhere from Antigua and Barbuda southward, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, section of Venezuela, Colombia, well, not Colombia yet, Guyana, southern Venezuela, western Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, eastern Nicaragua, eastern Honduras, northern Honduras, section of southeastern Belize, eastern Yucatan. Some isolated shores expected for portions of Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, northern Hispaniola, southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis. Definitely going to be expecting some rainfall within the next 24 hours. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. Regarding what's happening here across the Western Pacific. Well, the Indian Ocean, no suspect areas, but they're still watching that code yellow right here to the far east of the Philippines, something that is trying to develop within the next 7 days. We're still watching the ghost of Tropical Storm Koto, still down to Tropical Depression as we speak. Can barely make out the system, but it is still there. The code yellow is right here trying to get its act together. A lot of convection there. And if we zoom in on Tropical Depression Koto, you can see it right here, even although it's not really that visible. But it is there, the skeleton of the system still pushing to the southwest. Not looking like itself at all. 20-25 knot wind. Nothing to really worry about at this time. So it's definitely drawing away from depression status all the way back to low pressure status. Well, if you recall, we had a lot of flooding over the past couple of days in the Indonesia area because of that tropical depression. I mean, look at the updated statistics here from Volcaholic. They've stated that the number of deaths from the tropical depression, well, before it was a depression, it was an area of low pressure that was causing a lot of flooding. They stated that it's up to 712 people, 507 missing, 2,564 people injured, 3.3 million people affected, and 1.1 million people who are displaced. And we still have a lot of footage coming out. I mean, look at this. Look at this. House collapsing, murky waters being, trotted through. I mean, look at the people. Look at the buildings being swept away. It is just bad. It is just all bad. Trust me. Think you might have it bad, but trust me, there are other places in the world that are experiencing something bad or even worse. Alright. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.